Welcome, everybody, to the Three Gun Show. This is a special live edition with field correspondent Dave Horn, and we're here to do a match recon. Dave, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. I should also mention for the people watching on YouTube that may not be familiar, I'm your host, Dave Hartman, and here we are doing, again, like I said, a match recon, and what we're doing is we have a set criteria that we go by. Dave shot a match, and he's going to tell us all about it. He's going to tell us all the criteria that we decided upon, and this is to help you train for the match, shoot the match next year, also to tell you some fun times from the matches that we all shoot all around the country. So, Dave, this is always a fun one, man. I've shot this one for 2 years. I missed this year, so I'm excited to hear about it.
I think that's the overriding theme of this match. Is it's a fun match. It's one you get to hang out at and sort of relax. It's just the whole feel, the whole vibe of the match is a little bit different. It's very laid back, lots of constant shenanigans, even more so than at a normal match. So
more so than usual.
Yeah, and that's one thing that's really great about this match is just the overriding laid back, have fun sort of attitude, I think.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, Dave, let's not delay then. Let's get into it. So what match did you shoot?
So I shot the 2018 Rockcastle Samson 3-man 3-gun match. Was June 16th of this year. It was at Rockcastle in Park City, Kentucky. It was a points match. They use I guess I'd say an outlaw scoring system. Basically 2 hits on paper and all steel must fall. All penalties for 10 seconds. Everything was 10 seconds. So whatever was, if you have 1 C zone hit, it's 10 seconds. If you have 1 A zone hit, it was 10 seconds. It was actually 2 hits on paper, not 1 A, 2 anywhere.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, okay, yeah.
So that's a little bit different than what we normally do.
That was a little bit different. That took a stage to learn that.
I love those rules, and I love to hate them. The ones that take you a little while to realize.
Yeah. So we learned that on the second stage. We learned it pretty hard.
Okay, well, I can't wait to hear that. I hope that's in the funny stories that we can get to here. All right, so the one of the questions we always ask is the match on practice score?
The match. Okay, so the match was on practice score. The scoring was on practice score.
Mm-hmm.
The way that they do this match is it's a team match. So instead of having 300 people, or I guess it'd be 150 people sign up, the only people that actually deal with the administration of the match are the team captains. I was not a team captain. So the team captain signed up their team. The team captains were also the ones that received communication from the match directors with information regarding the match. I was pretty lucky. I had a good team captain. It was Donnie Flo. He forwarded me, I think, all the emails. So I knew what was going on. But I could see how if your team captain was not so proficient with emails that you didn't know what was going on, which is fine. Show up on – there wasn't a whole lot you really needed to know.
Pretty much where to be, how many rounds to bring, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It was pretty bad. I don't even remember most of it. It was show up. Here's what's going on. Yeah.
All right. So what is the schedule like for this match?
So the schedule, it's a single day match. The way the stages broke down, they basically had stages in 2 zones. So you shot one zone. One zone was 3 stages up near the bays. The other zone is out in Thunder Valley. There was 2 other stages.
Mm-hmm.
You shot a zone, you went to lunch, which was included, by the way, and then you went and shot the other zone. So
very cool.
1-day match. It wasn't on off. There were 5 stages, 5 squads. So
got it. So if you're not chowing on lunch, you're shooting.
Yep.
All right. Okay. So what was the match fee for this one?
Match fee was $210 per team, and there were 46 teams of 3 people that shot the match.
Gotcha. Now, do they limit the number of teams? Is that about normal? 46 for the match?
I think they limited it to 50. I know we had some last second changes. The team that actually finished second place lost a team member at the last minute, and kind of had to fight to get somebody to shoot. They actually had a stranger shoot with them every stage. So I think they had some people drop out at last minute and they had to reconfigure some teams, but I think 50 was where they wanted to keep it. If it got too much bigger, they'd have to have another stage, and it's a whole different animal at that point, I guess.
Yeah, that becomes a lot of people to manage. So in the first year that I shot this, I took advantage of the fact that people do drop out of this. And Brian Ray told me, he's like, hey, if you just get down here, which I was in, I think I was in Colorado at the time. So getting down here is an investment to getting to Park City when you're talking about getting there. He's like, just get down here and we'll put you with a team. We'll figure out who doesn't have one. And sure enough, I showed up and there was some guys who had a teammate drop out for whatever reason, and they threw me on their team. And so I got a sub in. That was a lot of fun. So that's kind of a unique thing about this match too, is if you have, one leg of your tripod fall out, they'll figure out a way to support you.
Yeah, and I think if you really want to shoot the match and you don't have a team, Brian and Brian are great. They'll figure out a way. You'll get to shoot the match. Like I said, we had the team that actually finished second place. Their third teammate, John Harris. I don't know. For those of you that follow John on social media, wife Bethany had a car accident on Thursday.
Oh no!
It just kind of messed up his plans. He couldn't make it. So last second he said, "Hey man, I can't come." It didn't hurt those guys too bad. They still finished second, but they were scrambling. Friday afternoon we were kind of trying to figure out, well, hey, who's going to shoot you guys?
Sure. And that's a valid reason for missing a match too. So hopefully everything works out with Bethany.
Yeah, she was. I think she broke her hand. So the car accident. I guess it could have been worse. She's a tough cookie.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
All right, Dave. Well, what division does everybody shoot? Is there like a mishmash of open, TAC, and limited, or do they limit it to just one division on this?
All TAC. Everybody's TAC.
Okay. And are there any other shooting opportunities?
No other shooting opportunities. It's a pretty full day.
Got it.
The whole from breakfast till awards time, you're either shooting or eating lunch. So it wouldn't really make sense to have anymore, but there weren't anymore. Right.
So what is you've got a raffle that they held down here. What is that all about?
So they did have they had several raffle items for this year. They were raising money for the Duskin Stevens Foundation.
Okay.
I'm not super familiar with Duskin Stevens. I know it is a nonprofit outreach for special operations soldiers and their families. Beyond that, I don't want to say too much because I'm not real sure. I know Mike Duskin was a special operations soldier and a big 3-gunner up in the Carolina area. Has lots of friends. I've heard lots of stories about Mike. Lots of guys that we know that still shoot were friends with Mike. So that he was killed in action. I want to say it's about 8 or 9 years ago. And this is just one of the foundation, or a foundation started in his name, and they were raising money for it.
I gotcha. All right. So the TAC Ops division team match. Let's talk about the winners and losers here. So first, second, third place on this.
The first place team was Josh Taylor, Will Jones, Keegan Singleton. Those guys killed it.
Really?
They shot. I shot on their squad. They killed it. I'll touch later. The flavor of the match was sort of nothing. There were no difficult shooting challenges. You had to be really, really fast, and you couldn't make mistakes. Penalties killed you. Those guys shot a very fast, very clean match. It was impressive, and they were screwing with each other the whole time too, which is always was also fun.
That's always great when people are having fun and you don't realize how well they're doing in the match because it looks like they're just out there having a good time.
Yeah. But they did great. They killed it. Second place was Joe Pitha, Keith Davis, and player number 3.
And that's just anyone from the squad that they're with that can shoot at that time. Is that what it is?
Yeah, well, they determined that, what was it? It had to be a different guy every time. Anybody from the squad could shoot with them, but they had to shoot with their primary team first. So
Okay.
it was just,
Yeah. Oh, okay. I gotcha.
yeah, they tried to figure out a way to make it fair. I shot with
Right.
them
So
once.
the rotating team then always has to go last, because if you went with the rotating
Yes.
in the rotating spot, you could now game it, and it's like you get an extra turn.
Yeah.
So it would benefit your team.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
And we had some good, I think I shot with them once. Ben McNew shot with them once. They had some good. They obviously had a decent third every time because they finished second.
Right.
But Heath and Joe shot great. Third place was the Mod 1 team: Pikes Braggins, Steve Griffin, and Joe Guthrie.
Sweet.
Yep. They were on a different squad, so I don't really know much else about them. But
yeah. So yeah, so this, from shooting in the past, I know that this is like a, it's basically like a glorified local match, is what Brian and Brian Ray and Brian Vaught call it, right? It's a ton of fun, but the idea is like, oh, this is a team match for the local competitors. And when you look at these names here, there's a couple people from outside of the area, but basically the typical Rockcastle shooting center shooters are who ended up near the top here. Am I correct on that or wrong on that?
I think that's accurate. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, let's Dave, let's move on here. What is the match flavor? You talked about teamwork here. Obviously, it's completely different with a team. What was this year's match like?
The match was very similar to matches in years past. The overriding theme, as I've mentioned before, is fun. Everybody, I think there's a certain competitive element no matter what.
Yeah.
But, there's lots of teamwork, lots of coaching, lots of heckling. I don't think there's any, from a shooting standpoint, there's no like, oh, it was shotgun heavy, it was pistol heavy, or because a lot of that was, you could change the match based on your team's strength. So not everybody really shot the same match anyway.
Right.
So yeah, the match flavor is just is fun. It's a laid back good time.
Right. So when you're talking about a team match, like if you're a good shotgun shooter, if that's one of your proficiencies, you're going to end up shooting a lot of shotgun in the match because your team's going to put you in all the positions to shoot a lot of shotgun that they can, right? Like that's part of the strategy of a team match.
Yeah. Yeah. And it played here. There was a couple of places where really, if it worked out, depending on what your strong suit was, you could have shot 5 stages and only shot your pistol once.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Huh. You could have. I mean, with the way, because I know that worked out for a couple of people.
So how about strategy? Was there a lot of strategy going into this, or was it basically like you pick, Dave's going to shoot the rifle array, Donnie's going to shoot the shotgun array? I forgot your third teammate. How did that flow?
Jake Takasik was our third teammate. He was actually slumming it with Donnie and I.
So basically, Jake's going to shoot everything, and the old guys are going to hang back here and cheer him on,
that
right?
was kind of like, hey, what are me and Donnie not going to do up, and Jake, you're going to do what's left.
I love it.
Yeah, that was how we decided everything. There were a couple of stages where one teammate shot one gun in one bay. You go to the next bay, and there's 3 more target arrays. Pistol, shotgun, rifle. Where you could have put, if you got a strong rifle guy, he could shoot rifle in both bays. He could shoot shotgun in both bays. We didn't shoot it like that, but it was possible. The one trick or hang up to those kind of things is you're shooting 2 different guns.
Right.
The guns aren't traveling between bays.
Right. So you're shooting not only a different gun, but it's somebody else's gun, right?
Right. So, no. If you said, okay, I'm going to shoot. I guess if you got 2 rifles, you could have put your 2 rifles out there. So let me back up and explain the stage.
Sure.
You got a stage where 2 bays side by side. Each bay has a pistol array, a rifle array, and a shotgun array. You start in one bay. a teammate goes, picks up a gun, shoots one array, goes back, tags a teammate, and then he has to crawl through 2 culverts to get through to the other bay.
Mm-hmm.
Where in the other bay, there's also a pistol array, a shotgun array, and a rifle array. You can break up how you shoot those however you want. So if one guy says, well, hey, I'm going to shoot rifle, that's great. He can shoot rifle in the first bay and go over, and he can shoot rifle in the second bay. But over in the second bay, he's not going to have his rifle. It's going to have to be somebody's rifle.
Okay.
So I think most people just said, I'll shoot these 2 guns and I'll shoot those 2 guns. The team that won actually had a pistol shooter, a rifle shooter, and a shotgun shooter that shot the same gun in both bays. I don't know what that says. The rest of us are idiots, and they figure out what they knew what they were doing because they won apparently. But you know, they had a master class pistol shooter on their team, so they said, hey, we're gonna put the pistol in your hand twice, and that worked out pretty good for them.
Yeah, honestly, I mean that's like the way to do it, right? Like looking at the second place team, like Pitha, we're gonna put Pitha on everything shotgun.
Yes, yeah, and well, they didn't do it that way.
Really?
They shot their own guns 2 different ways. The only team I saw do it where you said you're going to shoot pistol, you're going to shoot rifle, and you're going to shoot shotgun in both bays was Josh, Will, and Keegan.
Interesting. You know what? We got to bring coaches into this thing. That's the problem. We got to have some guy, you know, wearing like slacks and a sweater on the sidelines and shouting, like throwing chairs and shit. I could do that.
You know what? That would definitely up the spectator.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, because then if you know the coach, you know, he can have all the Kentucky bourbon he wants. He's not shooting, so it might get really interesting.
I'll forward that to Brian and see if we can't get designated coaches next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hopefully Brian Ray's not actually working right now and he's watching this, but Brian, write that down.
Yeah.
All right, man. So let's talk about skills utilized.
So again, the shooting challenges were not really difficult. I think they were all performing fundamentals at speed. There was the longest rifle shot was 200 yards for one person. I think the big challenges at this match are mental. Don't go so fast that the wheels fall off and you start getting penalties. 10-second penalties rack up real quick and are just extremely damaging.
Well, especially if you're talking like just one round off the paper, doesn't count. So right there, that's a significant disadvantage for the team.
So it's funny, none of the stages were super hard. And when, our very first stage was, you had 3 different shotgun arrays of eight knockover targets, 8 of the gunfighter knockover targets, easy arrays, but guys are trying to go so fast. They're dropping 3-4 shots, throwing another quad in. And I mean, it gets pretty funny pretty quick. But the guys that just backed off just a sec to get shooters, don't miss. And they were the people that did better.
Nice. Now, so not a lot of challenging shooting arrays, just shooting fast. Coordinating bodies, getting people in the right place at the right time. I know in team matches I've shot in the past that, tagging is an element of this. And just not running into each other as you're trying to switch positions is very difficult.
That was important on 3 stages.
Okay.
The one we kind of talked about having, who's going to shoot which gun. It was important on the golf cart stage. And there was another stage where it was, you wanted your best pistol shooter in the middle. So that was certainly an element. I don't know how important it is. I don't think that was be important as the people that, if you're missing, it doesn't matter who's shooting what.
Right.
And that was what I saw more than anything was people just going too fast and just not shooting good.
Is there some like extra sort of pressure or pandemonium to shoot fast when you're in like a team match?
I think so. I sure felt like it.
Yeah. Now is that because like, hey, I gotta look like I'm as fast as Jake, or is like you don't want to let Jake and Donnie down, or what is the push there?
There's that, but then you've also got your other squad mates in the back talking shit about their run, and so you're like, okay, there's a little bit more. I don't know. Yeah, a little bit more trash talk, just a little bit.
Yeah.
I think a little bit more pressure. I know for me, I'm more pressured to perform for somebody else than I am for myself.
Yeah, same here.
Kind of weird, And so I don't, I want to go fast. I don't want to be the last guy shooting.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, and when you throw in, like you said, the trash talk of the other squads and everything while you're shooting, the other teams. It's not like you have a squad of 10 more shooters. You have a squad of 30 more shooters. So there's a crowd, and it can get raucous.
Well, there's a crowd, and there's not you talk about a match like this, reset is easy. You reset once every 3 squads and you're fine. You're not, you got to fight to reset a target. So some people have to find ways to fill their time, and what they find is by trash talking everybody else, which is fun. But yeah, there's lots of opportunity for that. Some people took full advantage of it.
I love it. All right, so let's talk about the terrain. So this is a Rockcastle shooting center. It does have multiple different types of terrains. So how about for the stages that you shot this time around?
So the 5 stages, let's say 2 of them were in bays. One of them was halfway in a bay and half of sort of a jungle run through the woods.
Mm-hmm.
One was in a field in Thunder Valley, so just grass, and the other was unique terrain in that it was a golf cart.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get back to the golf cart one. I'm assuming here. Let's talk farthest shot. Number of long range shots.
Farthest shot was 200 yards. Only one teammate took that shot. You had one stage with what I would call long range, semi long range rifle. You had an array at 100, array at 150, and array at 200, and one each shot each array. So nothing crazy. It was just execute.
Right. Okay. No. You say no long shotgun or pistol targets. Any slugs at all?
No.
Okay.
No slugs. No pistol target beyond paper at 20 yards.
Oh, okay. Yeah, everything real close then.
Missed paper at 20 yards. Trust me.
Yeah, same here. I've missed paper at like contact distance, like me to the camera here. Logistics. How was check-in scoring, etc.?
Check-in was primarily Friday night at the lodge.
Mm-hmm.
As with any match at Rockcastle, the night before the match, the lodge is the place to be. Everybody's hanging out there. There was probably a couple of bottles of bourbon being passed around. But just in the main seating area of the lodge, check in. Brian gives you a couple of shirts, and you're good to go. I think for anybody that couldn't come Friday night, they also did check in Saturday morning. But it was quick, easy. Hey, you're here. See you in the morning.
Got it. And so they do a unique prize table at this match because there is three people on each team. So if you're talking winners, you're talking 3 winners each, right?
Yes. The prize for the match is pretty cool. Double Stars, one of the match sponsors, I think has been a sponsor the whole time, has engraves 3 lowers, say 3-man 3-gun on them, or Samson 3-man 3-gun. I don't remember exactly what they were. So the winners got engraved lowers with the match name on it, which is pretty cool. Prizes for the rest of the match. There were prizes. We're giving out random draw.
Mm-hmm.
Being a one-day match, I know Brian and Brian they don't solicit sponsors because they, like you said, they kind of want it to be a club match, a local match feel. And I think as much work as they put into the match, soliciting sponsors is that's a job.
Yeah.
But they've gotten quite a few. So they had a good bit of stuff to give away just because it's such a cool match, and so people like to be involved with it.
Right. The thing I like about what they do as well is they just tell the anyone that's interested in sponsoring the match, you got to send 3
Yeah,
because they give
yeah,
them out to teams, not to individuals.
hmm
I like that.
yeah,
Uh, and you're right, the lowers from Double Star are pretty slick, laser engraved, and looks pretty cool.
yeah. I'm kind of a fan of unique match trophies.
Yeah.
I just think they're kind of, for so long we just had prize tables. What'd you win? Well, I won a gun that I either, so many of the guys that won, they're like, well, yeah, I sold it or this or that. And, match trophies are cool.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy at Shooter Source match has cool trophies, and the Texas multi-gun belt buckles, and so I like match trophies. I think they're cool. I think they add some personality to the match.
They absolutely do. And when you can come up with something unique like Texas 3 Guns, belt buckles, or Vortex Shooter Source giant, AR 500 steel trophies, then that is something that's definitely special. All right, man. Let's talk about the venue. So this is Rockcastle Shooting Center. So for folks just tuning in or people that that haven't been there, describe Rockcastle Shooting Center.
Oh, that's tough. I mean, Rockcastle, I guess you would say, is a shooting resort. I don't know how many thousands of acres they have over there, but if you've never been to Rockcastle, you need to put that on your list as a shooter. It's somewhere you got to go at least once. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not lots of different shooting opportunities from train features to bays to you can do everything there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and let me help you out there a little bit, Dave. So this is when you say it's a shooting resort, it used to be like a resort, like a Dirty Dancing style that just puts an image in your head, right? So there's golf courses, there are like you said, the lodge, restaurant, bar, and then a full hotel as well. So giant parking lot where people normally hang out before, during matches, etc. It is like a shooting experience, and you can shoot out to several thousand yards. And how many thousand acres, I have no idea, but it butts up against Park Mammoth National Park. So there's all kinds of untouched wildlife around, and very, very long bullet impact zones.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That much better description.
I've believe it or not, we've done a match recon on Rockcastle Shooting Center before, so that's probably repeated that verbatim a couple times. Yeah, so for those not in the know, Rockcastle Shooting Center is one of those places, like Dave said, that you definitely have to visit in your shooting career, and you will not regret it. Dave, pre-communication, we talked about this a little bit here.
It seemed to be sufficient. Like I said, the team communication only went to the team captains. I received a couple of emails from my team captain. As far as I know, that's all that went out. But again, there wasn't a whole lot of information that needed to be conveyed. So as far as I know, I didn't miss anything.
Right. So the way I look at it is like enough information is perfect. And as long as I have enough, like where to be, when to be there, what do I need to bring, how much ammo, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like the worst part is getting there and find out there's something that everyone's been looking forward to for like 4 months and you have no clue about it. Yeah. So good. All right. So staff, how is the staff? So this is a unique RO situation here, but how did that all work out?
It is. So they use embedded ROs. I can that worked. It's embedded ROs are always tough for those guys because they've got to run a whole squad of, in this case, 30 degenerates to try to get them through a three-gun stage, and then shoot themselves. And it was brutally hot. So it worked. you help when you can if you got to run a timer or something. But I don't think in years past we've done that. I know in years past I've run the timer or the pad at least once just to help out. I didn't have to do that this year. So I guess this year they did really good.
Awesome. Yeah, the embedded RO is a unique idea, and it definitely seems to work out really well in this particular match.
I think it worked for this match. I'm like anybody else. I'm not a huge fan. I don't think I think generally that's a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
For this match, it works. For
Yeah,
this match, it's not. I think it's just fine for this match.
yeah, because I mean, like we said, it's a club match, right? It's
Yeah.
their big club match of the year, so embedded ROs, makes sense because when you're talking like a 1-day match and all the setup and everything that goes into it, when are you going to have an RO shoot?
Yeah. Yeah. So it definitely works here.
Yeah. All right, Dave. Fun factor. What was that like? How was this match fun? Did you have a good time?
Fun factor for this match to me is through the roof.
Yeah.
I'm competitive. I mean, I want to do well. I want to do well anytime I shoot. For me, my priority is to always have fun, but like anybody else, I kind of get mixed up and you get focused on your performance and, well, I want to do, I want to perform well. I want to be happy with how I performed. And ultimately that always has some sort of bearing on the fun for me. This is one match where it doesn't really. This is one match, and maybe it's just me, but I feel like I can kind of throw all that out the window and just show up and be an idiot and have fun. It's much lower stress, even though I'm not super stressed at any match. As I say this, my teammates are probably going to be a little pissed off because they're like, God, what were you screwing around the whole time?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I was just thinking, like, that's like my attitude going into this, and especially the years that I shot it because I didn't know my teammates at all, and it turned out well. Made good friends because of that. But I remember thinking, like, God, this is great. There's like no pressure. I'm not even trying that hard. And then later on thinking, like, I bet those guys really wanted to win. So, Dave, maybe you and I should be on a team and we could just do whatever, have fun and pick butterflies and stuff like that.
Well, and I about at one point during the day, I remember thinking, gosh, we had already racked up, 100 seconds in penalties probably, and the competitive day for us was over.
Yeah.
And I don't know that Donnie and Jake were super thrilled about that. And I probably wasn't as respectful of their competitive feelings as I should have been.
That has never been said on the show before. I was not respectful of their competitive feelings.
But it dawned on me that, hey, maybe sometimes you just screw around too much.
Yeah.
And that's probably true, but I think I'd rather be that than, uptight all the time. So
yeah. Yeah. I think about that a lot. Like just a, small example. I'm in an office building here and there's, people walking around in ties and stuff. And I'm wearing my Armalite shirt and shorts. And yeah, I remember like when it started getting warm in the spring around here, I'd be standing in the kitchen making coffee on the crappy Keurig again. Someone would come in and be like, casual Friday, it's like a Tuesday. And I look down, I'm like, yeah, shorts, it's warm outside. That's what I'm going to do. Get ready for that. So,
they hate you, right?
Yes, I do. I am well aware of that. Most of them just scatter like cockroaches.
I'd wear flip-flops every day just because.
Nice. Sometimes I walk around barefoot.
If I were you, I'd be barefoot.
Yeah. Cool. We're gonna start doing tank top Tuesdays, I think. So I'll let you know how that works. All right, man. So fun factor through the roof. Glad you had a good time there. Match fee quotient. So this is A $210 match. There are 5 stages. There's some math involved in that. But how do we do that match fee quotient, Dave? Do we have to divide it by the number of people as well?
No, I think you got to. Okay.
So it's $42 per team per stage.
I think that's the best way to look at it.
Okay.
And I think I'd pay to probably do them all again with
nice.
Because I think we could do every single one of them better than we did.
Okay, so that is one really interesting part of the match fee quotient, because we kind of leave it open ended and let the person that's doing the match recon figure it out for themselves. Like, do you want to shoot them again because they're so much fun? Oh my god, I gotta shoot this again, or shoot them again because, like, yeah, I could probably do better. So you choose. I could probably do better on this one.
I think, and I think that's maybe just something that's also different about this match. As you look and you say, God, we could have done this better, but you don't. You know, when do you ever do this? You know,
yeah.
You either here, you shoot at top, and that's the only chance you get to shoot in this sort of like format. So, you know, there were a couple of times you look back and like, oh, we should have done it this way, or we could have done it that way. And the stages were all fun enough that, yeah, I'd like to try them all again.
Mm-hmm. Well, the cool thing, you wrote it down in the recon that will be published on the website when it comes out. But not everybody gets to shoot the same match, which is awesome. And if you take that into the match fee quotient portion, you can actually shoot the match multiple ways, multiple times.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, with 3 people, you could probably shoot the match 6 times, and it wouldn't be the same. So, and that I guess, you know, as I mentioned before, I think we got to, you know, one team had a couple of guys that only shot their pistol on one stage.
Huh.
And just the way things broke down, it's yeah, no, it wasn't that everybody shot the same match, but every team shot the same match,
right?
But not every shooter,
right? I love that. I think that's cool. A cool part of it, and it makes the challenge of a team match that much greater, right? Because you have to figure out so many different things. It isn't just like, okay, I know I'm shooter 2, so I shoot these targets. You know, you got to figure out like your strengths and everything. And that's one of the things I really enjoy about the team match. Also, if you don't know your fellow shooters, there's a lot of forced honesty that comes with that too. Of like, I really suck at pistol, guys, or I've not been hooking up on shotgun lately, so someone's gonna need to carry me on this one.
You can either be honest or you're gonna, you know, if you're not, we're gonna find out real quick.
That is true. That is true. The and Veritas practice score. That's one of my favorite ones.
And what?
And Veritas practice score. It's a take on Envino Veritas. So yeah. So the truth is in practice score. The shots don't lie. All right, man. So the last category here: funny things that happened at the match.
So there was a lot. The ones that I really remember, maybe because it was our last stage. You know, the sort of signature stage for this match is the golf cart stage.
Yeah. So briefly describe that golf cart stage, because I know what to expect, but not having a context of being at the match, I can imagine like golf cart stage. What does that mean?
So there's a stage set up out in Thunder Valley, so you're basically going along a dirt trail with a golf cart on it. And on the passenger side of the golf cart are all the targets. The shooting area, for lack of a better term, is approximately 75 yards long. And so the way the stage works is you have one teammate drive the golf cart while the shooting teammate is in the passenger side of the golf cart, shooting out the passenger side of the golf cart at the targets.
So awesome. So awesome.
Past all of the targets, there's some dump barrels down there. So the driver goes to the dump barrel. The shooter who's in the passenger side dumps his gun, hopefully gets back in the golf cart. If the driver does a U-turn, comes back up range, comes back up to the beginning of the target array, basically, where the squad is assembled in the start of the stage, and they do another U-turn. At that point, there's an exchange where the driver gets out of the golf cart, tags a teammate who gets in to shoot. The previous shooter slides over from the passenger seat to now be the driver. That whole situation, lots of just funny stuff happens.
Oh yeah, this is a very Kentucky stage.
It is a very, very Kentucky stage. You know, you have teams that the golf cart is frequently on two wheels. You have guys dropping mags. There are, along the edge of the road, they've got clays lined up, and these clays are sort of your fault line.
Mm-hmm.
And that's to keep the golf cart in the road from getting too close to the targets. The clays, if they're broken, if they're run over, they're counted as 10-second penalties. So you had a couple of guys where you have the driver watching the shooter and not the road, and they're just busting clays every 10, 20, 30, 40. And they can't hear over the golf cart that the rest of the squad is just dying because they are just racking up penalties and have no idea. And they're
you become like a 16-year-old at that point because you become like target focused. Like remember when you were first learning to drive, Dave, and like you look at something off in the distance and you start drifting that way. Like that is to the nth degree in this particular situation, because you're all amped up because someone's shooting and you're watching them, you're watching the targets, you're not watching where you're driving.
You have teams quickly become old married couples with go faster, no, stop, no, slow, no. Screaming at each other. It's all. I was in our team. I drove. I shot and then I drove. And when I drove, Jake was the shooter. Jake was shooting the shotgun. This was the situation where, Donnie, what do you want to shoot? Not the shotgun. Me too. Jake, you're shooting the shotgun. He shoots the shotgun and he kind of bails out to dump it. And I see he's right there, right behind me. So I floor it. Well, the golf cart, on the back of the golf cart, they've got a double star flag draped almost like a cape. Well, that thing's just held on with zip ties, and it's just a flag. It's not a it's not a grab handle. It's very secure. So
I like where this is going.
I saw Jake dump his shotgun. He was surely going to jump on the back. He's young. He's quick. He's touching the golf cart. He's got a hand on it. So I floor it. I take off and I get 20 or 30 yards down the road, and I hear a faint wait. When I stop and kind of look over my shoulder, and Jake's rolling in the dirt behind the golf cart. So, at that point, I freak out a little bit. I'm like, oh, crap. What happens if I is it a procedural? If I get up here and Jake's not here? Come on, kid. But he jumps up and runs and catches up. I skid to a stop. He catches up. We finally get on and jump off and tag. That was probably the worst fall that we saw. I guess what happened was when he jumped on the back of the golf cart, he grabbed the double star flag.
Oh, nice.
He started to lean back. That thing just gave way. It wasn't. A zip tie was not keeping him on.
Lost it, huh?
Yeah. So that was funny. We had a team. We had a team whose shooter, when he got the rifle, I don't know if he had a trigger malfunction or if there was something with the position of shooting out of the golf cart, but he was putting 5 or 6 bump-fired rounds on every single target.
No kidding. Maybe that's a strategy.
It sounded there were lots of jokes going down there. It was pretty cool to watch because it kept happening, and we got back to what is your gun safe? He goes, oh yeah, it's fine. It's I got off my shoulder a little bit. It was okay. The funny thing was that he only loaded a 30-round mag, so I think he fired his last round on his last target like his last round fired was his last neutralizing hit on his last target.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, and that was
cut that one perfect.
Too. I mean, there was. I don't want to say they won by luck, but that was lucky.
Yeah, that sounds like luck.
Yeah.
Or a perfect plan. Which is it, Dave?
I think I go back to this match you perform. You know, if you can execute the fundamentals at speed well, you'll do well in this match.
So Dave, the Jake falling out of the cart's like a pretty good train wreck. You wrote down that there were some other train wrecks that were funny to watch. What are some other good ones?
Okay. All right. Battle rattle stage.
Yeah, describe that one. That one's a fun one too.
This is another stage that they've had an iteration of every year. You have 3 arrays. The first array is the rifle array. We talked before about having rifle arrays at 100, 150, and 200 yards. Stage starts with all 3 teammates are at this rifle array. They take turns shooting their prescribed long distance targets. So one guy goes up, shoots an array, tags another guy, goes up, shoots an array, tags the last guy, goes up, shoots an array. Last guy finishes his rifle array. He tags. All 3 team members run over to a field of pepper poppers, probably 30, 35 pepper poppers. These are all pistol targets. So at that point, all 3 guys take their pistols and just go crazy, knocking down a field of pepper poppers. Once all of those targets are neutralized, everybody grounds their pistols, runs again to an array of the gunfighter style knockover targets. They're all shotgun targets. I want to say there was 70 something of these things, just a field of steel.
Nice.
They were as close as 7 or 8 yards and as far as 20 something. So there were several teams that were, I guess, you never really had to think about your choke and your shotgun at all at this match, except on this stage. It could be kind of important.
Okay.
There were several teams that were way under choke and just, the target's out on the back rim that, you've got 3 guys shooting at a target, loading, shooting, running dry, and a target just waving at them, not going down. And
no kidding.
You in a normal match, I'd never laugh at somebody like this. Well, probably not. But in this match, it was hilarious watching 3 guys just drown for being underchoked and targets just laughing at them. It was bad.
When we talk about underchoking, like what choke were they actually using that was inadequate?
Well, you ask them and they're like, well, I'm using a skeet. What are you using? An IC, and one guy's, a spreader. I'm like, well, yeah, that, your pattern is at that distance, your pattern's like 4.5 feet to hit a 6x6.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
Whoops.
Yeah, it just wasn't enough. It was, and you could see, every time they shot, you could see the pattern fly up all around, just engulf the target. The target just nothing.
I love it. That's great. So
that particular array, and I guess this is kind of evil because you're laughing at people for missing targets. Guys are loading and shooting probably more shotgun faster than you would in most other matches, or in most other races where you're just standing and shooting. You're shooting till dry. You got one left and loading up and doing it again. You saw several guys burn their hands and almost drop their shotguns, and
well, like you say, it's a battle rattle. So there's 3 dudes shooting at the same time. So there's there's team pressure, there's time pressure, there's like gunshots going off while you're loading and everything. So now you got to get back in the game and everything. So there's a ton of pressure going on with that. So yeah, you end up shooting a lot faster than you normally would.
Yeah, something about that array just caused a lot of people to just do dumb stuff. And it was kind of funny to sit and watch. It was after lunch. Everybody was tired. I mean, we did it. You know, I shot the stop clay before everybody was done.
Nice. So what does that mean? Does that mean you get penalties for everything you left up?
I think you get a penalty for shooting it first, and then a penalty for everything that's left up. There was one target left up. I which is apparently what I thought, what they were telling me, but I heard clear. So that's not what they were trying to communicate to me. Apparently they were saying, "Hey, dumbass, you got one more target over there." So I did it too. It's okay. I feel okay to laugh at everybody else because I did it too.
Yeah. I was that under choker as well, so worked out for me. So Dave, let's talk about choking, man. You had some choking problems on this in this match?
Me? No.
Yeah.
No. Actually. So I didn't really have problems. Fortunately, I was gonna change my choke on that stage. I forgot to put this in there. So
from what to what?
I had an IC and I was gonna put in a light mod, just a little extra insurance.
Right.
Well, my choke wouldn't come out, and I thought, well, this is kind of weird. So I pull out my my trusty gunsmithing Leatherman. And said, all right, I can get
like externally knurled ones, or
yeah, it was a pure gold with the cuts in it. I mean, there was no I couldn't get enough purchase, but so surely a Leatherman will get it, right? I mean,
yeah, or just scrape the hell out of it and mar it, and
did that too. That choke's currently sitting on my bench. I've got a new one coming tomorrow. I couldn't get the choke out. I finally got it to start to turn, and I thought about it. Well, when was the last time you changed this choke? And it was probably at Texas 3 Gun.
Oh, wow. So April?
April, yeah. So I probably haven't pulled that choke out of the gun since April. Shot all shooter source with it. Shot task force dagger with it.
Oh, Texas 3 Gun was in March, so that's even longer.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't used anything other than an IC choke that long. So
it was in there, huh?
It was rusted in there. Yeah. The inside of the A5 barrels for some reason tend to rust a little bit. I guess maybe that means I should clean my gun more often, but that's not.
It's crazy talk.
Yeah, no, that's no. We don't need to do that. It was fine. I mean, I'll shoot it clean.
Right. So Dave, I have that same mentality as well. Would you like to hear a story about me screwing up chokes?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you shot Vortex shooter source, right?
Yeah.
Was there anything beyond an IC at that match?
Not for me.
Me neither. So I looked at everything and I was like, okay, well, everything here is an IC. There was probably like there was 3 targets that looked like they were heavy. They were a little bit farther away, and I was like, I'm just gonna load in some nitro, which I have like some Remington. They're called nitro, but it's basically they're I think 1,350 feet per second or whatever. But they're still 7.5 or 8, so not much different than what I normally shoot the 1250 AA's, right? So I shoot the entire match. And then can't remember the next time. It must have been a club match, but I was looking at a stage and I thought, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and throw my mod in here. So I go and I take my choke out, and I have like the factory chokes. This was on my old shotgun. I have like the factory chokes, and they're just completely gummed with carbon. So you got to take a knife and like scrape them to see like what choke it actually is. So I take the one out of my bag, and that one's got carbon, and now I've got 2, and somehow I set them together. And I'm like, okay, I don't know which one I just took out of here. Which one's JST? So I'm like, okay, well, this one's wet, so it must have just been in the gun. This one is dry, so it must have been the one that was in the bag. So I take the one that was dried, scrape it off, expecting to see an M, and I see an I and a C. It's like, holy shit. I've had mod. When was the last time I used mod? I had mod in this gun, and so I cannot for the life of me recall the last time I had a mod target to shoot, but it was well before the Vortex shooter source. So I shot the entire Vortex shooter source three gun with a mod choke in for no good reason. Just making everything harder for myself.
Oh. I used to get kind of hung up on chokes every once in a while. It would cause me stress over on the stage, and the chokes I would I see her like mod. But there's just really not that much difference. And I thought, well, just aim at that one.
Well, for IC and mod, I find a lot of difference, but for light mod and mod, not so much.
Let's see, and I wouldn't even if it was IC and mod. I don't, there's. If I need a mod, I know I need a mod, but I'd go back and forth, with myself over IC and light mod, and it's like, well, that's I mean, I'm wasting brain space at that point, and I can't afford that.
Yeah, no, brain space is fragile and rare. So speaking of the team match and chokes, the first year that I shot it was the first year I went and toured around the country with the 3-gun show, and Mark Yackley and several of the Marine reserve combat shooters were also shooting the match. So I got there like the night before, the night before. So I got a Thursday, and I was hanging out with those guys, and Mark and I were talking about chokes, and we were talking about choke selection. And I was telling him, like, I really don't choke very, very much. I don't really select anything. I just pretty much go with what I have all the time. And so Mark was telling me that people get paralysis from too many options, right? So he does, and I can't remember what his selections were, but I'm guessing one of them is a mod and one of them is an IC, and then one of them was like something more open. So he says, like, I've got 3 choices. I've got a wide shot, a normal shot, and then a tight shot. And that's how he looks at it. And so when you eliminate all those different chokes, that there's always one tool for the tool job, but one tool for the job. But if this choke is perfect, this one's going to be pretty good. So if you have 3 pretty good choices, that narrows it down instead of having like 10 different choices, So that's kind of the way I run chokes as well. It's like I've got a mod, I got an IC, and then I've got nothing, which is the threads, right? So that's a rare occasion where there's nothing beyond, the length of the magazine tube.
I think that's exactly right, though. I don't think you. I know I've spent far too much time thinking about minute differences in chokes than it's like, well, do you run a mod here? No, I don't need a mod. A light mod will be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with that completely. I think if I just had a spreader, an IC, and a mod in my bag, I think that'd be fine.
Yeah, and I think you're right. And when you talk about like you said, brain space, and this is something we've talked about on the show before. There's so much to think about in 3-gun, and why would you want to occupy your mind with something else? And I've seen dudes like the night before, like the match at dinner, we're like supposed to be talking about glory days, war stories from the range and the girls we used to know. And these guys are like, well, it's that one target when you turn around that corner, that is the tightest target there. So you need to go ahead and go from a light mod to a mod, or an IC to a light mod. And like, they're talking about like these minute distances. And I've just like completely tuned out at that point. Like I've already made the decision. It's in the gun, and I'm not changing.
Yeah. What choke are you shooting? I can't tell you how many times lately people say, what choke are you shooting? I see. Why? Because it's in the gun.
Yeah. And it works out like 100% of the time. It works every time.
Yeah. No, I agree. There are times where I've spent way too much just mental energy analyzing small stuff like that probably doesn't make, it takes up too much, just takes up too much brain space, too much bandwidth. And if I'm going to shoot better if I just relax and forget about it anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Well, so here's the challenge. Next match you go to, Dave, take those 3 chokes you were just saying, spreader, IC, and mod. See how it works.
I'll take them. I'll bet it's going to be IC the whole time, though.
Yeah, it almost always ends up being that way, for sure. Yeah. Well, Dave, anything else you want to add to your match recon of the 2018 Rockcastle 3-man 3-gun? presented by Samson Double Star. I think I got that.
I think that's right. No, I just encourage anybody who's thought about shooting a team match or is not sure about it to give it a shot. Go out and check it out. It really is. It is something different from what we normally do. It's a lot of fun. It's just a nice. I think it's a great change of pace. I look forward to the match every year, and it was probably not what I expected the first time I shot it 4 or 5 years ago. But it's almost like an off weekend, but I'm still getting to shoot.
Yeah, it really, that's a good way of putting it. It does seem like a shooting vacation kind of thing. Like when you go out to the range and you only bring your 22s and you just shoot pop cans or whatever. Like that's kind of like an analogy to it.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely give it a shot.
Yeah, one thing, if I can pile onto that, I say that team matches are just a kick in the pants because there's something completely new, and they add like all those elements that we've been talking about here. The great thing about the Rockcastle team matches is put on by Brian Ray and Brian Vaught, who I admit I'm biased. They're friends, but are a couple of the funniest dudes on earth. And they like to have a good time, and their personality comes out in the stage. You know, the boyish, mischievous type of mentality of like, how much fun can we have with everything we have? What if we set out every target we have and just shoot them all? You know, like that's the mentality, and that's the fun that comes with it.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right, Dave. Well, we have come to the end of the match recon here. You want to take some questions from the audience that are listening to us here?
Sure.
All right. So first one is Ruben Alexson, and he just says, "What up, dudes?" Hey, Ruben.
What's up, Ruben?
And then Brian Ray's on here, and he says, "Dave probably won't tell you, but he has also RO'd this match before. Thanks for your help, Dave."
Yeah, you're welcome. I guess I did do it one. I don't know.
Rob Hall says, "I really enjoyed this match, even though it was only 2 degrees cooler than the corona of the sun."
I don't know that it was a full 2 degrees, but it was
Celsius.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
The next one is also from Ruben Oxen. He says, "Dave, your chandelier is glorious." You know, it's confusing. I think people are like purposely screwing with us in the comments here, because when I read that one, I was looking at this light right here, which I use when I'm doing stuff on this table. And I was like, chandelier, that's an interesting name for it. And then you spoke and I realized, oh, there's a chandelier behind the other Dave too.
Yeah, I don't really have like an office, or I certainly don't want to, anywhere to. I don't have an office or anywhere where I do like real work, like jobby job stuff. So yeah.
I like it. Well, yeah, the Ruben's right. Your chandelier is glorious. Rob Hall says, "I shot pistol 1 stage out of all."
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. He also says that we did that also. So whatever we were talking about 20 minutes ago, I shot rifle both bays. Another guy shot pistol, and the other guy shotgun. Oh, okay, cool. And then Rob also adds 2 slugs.
2 slugs. Oh, you know what? There were 2 slugs. I didn't shoot them. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You had one of your minion take care of that for you?
No, yeah, we made Jake do it.
This one looks a little bit harder than a chip shot. Jake, you're up.
Yeah, there was one stage where you had 2 guys on either side that had sort of matching arrays of shotgun targets with some flippers, and then they transitioned and had some rifle paper. The guy in the middle had some. I think he had 4 or 5 poppers, and each popper activated a toaster. So the guy in the middle would shoot the poppers, and the guys on the outside would shoot the toasters that came up.
Oh, nice.
And after you hit those, he also had some 2 slug targets.
I got you.
I wasn't the guy in the middle, so I didn't shoot slugs, so I kind of forgot they were there. But yeah, there were 2 slug targets. Rob's right. Thank you, Rob.
Nice. Yeah, thanks, Rob. All right, Brian Ray. Last one says, "Come on out as a guest coach next year, Dave." Come in. I think that would add a fun element to the game.
That could definitely be entertaining.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, anything you want to add to your recon of the 2018 Rockcastle 3-man 3-gun?
I don't think so. I hope that covers it.
Gonna shoot it again next year?
Absolutely. I'll shoot it every year they have it.
Nice. Well, you're gonna have to stop doing the recon because eventually you'll just run out of teams if they think you're not taking it seriously.
Next year's going to be different.
Yeah.
Training for next year starts tomorrow.
Yeah. Training always starts tomorrow.
I promise. I'm ready.
All right. Well, Dave, man, thanks for doing the recon, taking the time to fill out the sheet, and for taking the time out of your Monday afternoon to sit here with me on the 3-gun show.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.